It's a very great Monday, no doubt about that. As always, we're delighted to have you join us here on Global Television. This is how we welcome you. So good morning, this amazing Friday, marking the start of what we now believe is a promising weekend. I'm Uyi Agumofwe. As always, we're delighted to have you join us here on the program. Well, for those of you who have missed the lady on the show for quite a number of days, I think 4 days straight, that's a lot of time to not have a particular face on the show such as these. Let's just say for the records that she has gone to unwind, lean back a little,
really?
Nurture herself. What else? Just pamper herself a little, and then if you like, get reinvigorated for this job. Jumai Rekia Manse.
Really?
It's a pleasure.
What are all my names?
We have to be official for the first time.
How are you doing, Uyi? Good morning.
I'm great. Good to see you.
And to each and every one of you out there, good morning. And it's great to see you too, Uyi.
Right.
And I wish it was to unwind and relax and all of that.
Far from it.
It's, it's far from it.
Right.
But we're here now. We're excited. And it's a beautiful day. It's a TGIF, they call it, right?
That's right.
Thank God it's Friday. And we're excited. We are here giving you informations, and of course, very importantly, we interact when it comes to the major happenings making round in the nation. It's great to be here.
I won't agree any less because it's the last business or working day of the week.
Yes, it is.
And there's no better way to wrap up this working week than to say we're grateful
yes,
for
we are.
the gift of life, regardless of all of the challenges and hurdles that we have to grapple with, both as a government and as a people. But we will surmount, as has always been the case.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. And we always have that hope that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
Let's be hopeful. Let's be grateful. It doesn't matter what it's being seen or what we see at the moment. We know that things will get better. By the way, someone told me that she bought fuel at the rate of 900 naira yesterday. One of these, not the MRS usual, but now we know that with this back and forth when it comes to price, I hope there won't be any issues when it comes to fuel in the country, because now in other fueling stations, aside MRS, is 900 naira per liter.
Right.
As yesterday she told me, because I was shocked when I heard that. But with all of these things, we just hope that things get better, and we hope that we move forward, and there is always a solution to all of this. It's very important. As Nigerians, we don't ask for much. We
just
don't.
The basics.
Just the basics, and we're good.
Right. And speaking of fuel, you know what they say in this country, that when the price of fuel or petrol sneezes, every other aspect of our lives catches cold. Right, and the Dangote element in the industry has also sparked a wide range of conversations as to say, look, this is a blessing for not just Nigeria, but Africa, first of its kind on the continent, game changer. All we have to do is support the initiative.
Yes.
But we've also seen how that there has been some sort of fight, so to speak, in that regard. We're seeing a lot of bad blood between the Dangote refinery and regulators, especially the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, where even the chief executive officer was, if you like, forced to resign not too long ago on account of the face-off that he had with the chairman and founder of the Dangote refinery. But all of that said, it's only natural that in an industry such as, the O&G, oil and gas, as we know it, you are going to have that sort of strife. But we just desire that it stays within healthy boundaries.
Very important.
In such a way that it doesn't have so much of backlash on the everyday person.
Yes, I love when you said it doesn't have a backlash on the everyday person, especially taking a toll on us.
Right.
We, the average individuals who have nothing to say or nothing to, when it comes to that particular sector, we just need it because
not much of a voice.
Not much of a voice, but the thing is, we need it for our day-to-day runnings. When it comes to moving from one point to another, when it comes to you going to the market, you'll be shocked that cost or that hike in food is the reason. It's the fuel it's the reason behind all of that, because they will tell you, I have to transport these things. I used to know what fuel is talking about, but at the same time, it doesn't take a toll on us, the average Nigerian who is trying to make ends meet at this point. So let's just see how well it plays out, and hopefully all of these it's resolved, very importantly.
We hope that happens real soon. But there's so much we want to bring your way in the course of the show this morning. And one of those conversations is letting you know that Edo State government is now carving a new path in the aviation sector with a big, ambitious, gigantic goal to float an airline. Yes, you heard me right, float an airline. We'll talk to you about that and much more after this break. Please do stay with us. Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
Now, if you ask any Nigerian, about one of the issues that give them the most of concern in terms of development, without having to think for too long, they'll tell you is power. Of course, others will say roads and basic infrastructure, but power is one of the first concerns. Now, there are two sub-concerns, if you like, under that, which is first, the availability, the uninterruptibility of power. In other words, the situation where power is not interrupted like you have in other climes. That's number one. Number two is the billing system for how much of power or energy that they consume. Juma, you and I, we have used power in this country for a while.
Yes, we have.
You realize that almost every other day people complain about how that there's light in one area, or one area is enjoying more supply, longer supply than the other area. In all, everybody is saying, can we not have uninterrupted power supply across the country? That's the first concern. But another layer of concern over that now is the billing system, the metering system. The last few days, we have been reading in the news practically every other day about how that there is this face-off between the federal government and the distribution companies over metering. Now, here's the perspective and context. The federal government says, Juma, being a Nigerian resident in Nigeria, does not need to pay for meter, so give her meter for free. She now has to buy units as he uses. So if she buys, for example, 10,000 Naira units, is her business. She has the right to decide how much she wants to buy. How she also uses is her business. However, she doesn't need to pay for meter. Therefore, meter has to be absolutely free.
Yes.
That's on the federal government side. On the operator side or the service provider side, all 11 of these distribution companies now say that no, that's not going to be possible, because you are just making a pronouncement without a policy or implementation framework in place.
Okay.
By what method, with which system are you going to implement this directive? Because first of all, you are not taking into cognizance the costs of paying or settling those who are going to install these meters. If you give UI a meter, for example, he cannot, for free, right? He cannot install it himself.
No, he cannot.
You have to get a Jumai who is an expert in that field to come and install.
And you have to pay that Jumai.
How do you pay Jumai? That money has to come from somewhere. Question is, who brings that money? So that has been the issue. Now, the thing is, The Honorable Minister of Power, Chief Adebayo Adelabu,
Yes.
has said that give everybody meter for free as long as they are requested or they have applied. They don't have to pay for it.
Okay.
Now, the operators, who for the most part are private sector-oriented people, these are business-oriented people, are saying that that was a political statement. You can't play politics with power. Yes,
you can.
even if you want to, there's a limit to which you can do that. Because when it's all said and done, the industry is also about Naira and Kobo.
Yes, it is. And of course, the burden falls back to these individuals who are actually the manufacturers of this particular meters. But it's just unfortunate that, you know, in Nigeria, we're quick to... I don't work with power media. Let's just get that clear. I'm not in that sector. I'm just
You're not a stakeholder
I'm
there.
not a stakeholder there.
But hopefully someday you could be investing there too. Who knows?
Okay. But the truth is, like they said, it's a political statement. It's unrealistic if you look at it critically, Uyi. But of course, it's our right. Meters are supposed to be given to us free because we actually pay to recharge these things. You know, from that band A, band B, band. Do you know how much people pay for power? Like the cost is high. So the least the government can do is give the particular meter for free. It will go a long way to give succor at least. Okay, fine, the meter is free, but you have to pay to recharge. But at the same time, it's unrealistic that an Uyi, for instance, goes in, applies for meter, gets it. Who pays? Of course, it should just be a general statement that, okay, fine, when you get a meter for free, you have to bear the brunt of payment. At least that settles both sides and it makes it equal and there is a balance there. But to just, okay, you know, there's just something that's not right. But at the same time, that's what it is in Nigeria. We are quick to say things, especially when it comes to being political about it. Like we always say, politicians cannot be trusted. You know how they are. See, I'm smiling, I'm saying it because I don't want to be quoted. But at the same time, I think there should be a balance to it. For as much as the Minister of Power has good intent when it comes to this, it will really reduce the brunt and burden from a lot of individuals. If you can get meters for free, it will really, that's a step in the right direction. But at the same time, it should be realistic at the same point, so there won't be back and forth, and we will not go back and forth on this matter. So the whole thing will not just come to an end. It will just be a say and not any way forward or the doings, will I say.
You know, we're going to bring you inspirational real soon, by the way, but just to also establish that the power sector in itself is very tricky, pretty much like the energy sector.
Yes, they are.
I mean, the oil and gas sector. But then we must understand that power is a service. So if you were going to politic about it, politicize the process, you've got to understand that there are limits to which you can do that, because ultimately what the average citizen wants is to have their lights on, and politics will not make that happen. All right. We're taking a quick break now. Ramsey Enoch Agbo is standing by with Inspirational.
So many thanks for joining us once again on Heart to Heart Inspirational. We just want to inspire you, encourage you. And of course, my name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Now, do you know that there is this belief that everyone feels that they are behind? You ask a lot of people, and some people even tell their colleagues, their neighbors, their friends, their family members that they are behind. But let me tell you something right here. I want to start by correcting that lie that many of us have believed for too long. It's been a long time that a lot of people believe this lie. I want to say it is a lie, okay? It depends on what I want to say now. When someone say, I'm late, I'm late. And a lot of people have crashed out of destiny. A lot of people have mixed it in life because they feel I'm late. Hey, she's married, I'm not married. Oh my God, she's rich, I'm not rich. Oh, she's gotten admission, but look at me right here. But nobody is saying, oh, she's dead. Why am I not dead? Has anybody said that? Nobody is saying, oh, some of my mates are mad. Why am I not mad? They don't tell themselves that they should be mad also because somebody is in their category or at their age level is mad, or maybe probably late or dead. Why are you not saying, all right, you should be dead or you should be mad? The same way you're thinking that, oh, you should be rich because the other person is rich and you are of the same age grade or classmate or something or neighbor or whatever. That's the reason I said it's a lie. When you are being forced to believe that you are late. And a lot of people, because they feel they are late now, they do nothing anymore because that is their mindset, because that's what they believe. But then I should further let you know this. Others ahead of you doesn't mean that you are late, because you are also ahead of someone. That's it. But hear me clearly today that you are not behind. All right. We live in a world obsessed with a lot of comparison. Social media shows us edited victories. A lot of victories you see, a lot of successes you see on social media are edited victories. All right. In the real sense of it, you meet some of these people one-on-one, you will be shocked. Hey, come on. Is that the person I see on social media? It is edited victories. All right. There are a lot of people that are living with struggles, but they come on social media and they paint everything like they don't have any issue. You see some families not doing well, some husband and wife not doing well. Then you see them on social media, it will appear as if they are the best couple in the world. I'm not saying you should show, all right, the ugly situations you're facing in your family. It's not everything you bring on social media. I'm aware of that. But then you don't need to pattern your life based on what you see on social media. All right. That has made a lot of people get into some acts that they are not supposed to get into. If you see some people's resolution for 2026, you would be shocked. A lot of people want to be successful because they feel they are late. Someone just told me, today that, well, he traveled, and you see a lot of people, just little boys who have involved themselves in one or two things, driving big cars, and the people who are doing genuine and legitimate things don't even have that kind of car. That's a wrong comparison, if you ask me, though the person didn't fall for what they were driving. He didn't fall for it. And he was sharing with me today. But we need to know that there are so many things that have happened behind the scene with someone else's highlight reel and conclude would fail. But life is not a race. Life is a journey with different routes, all right, different terrains and different timings. So if it is not your route, if it is not your terrain, if it's not your timing, and you want to force it, you may miss it, you may crash. If you go up too early, you may crash very early. A lot of people have faced that in the past. Some people are blown early and some fade early too. And others are slow-born successes. Some start strong and crash. Others struggle quietly and rise suddenly. Timing is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of design. That time you're taking your time, it's as if you are in the workshop. Very soon you come to the showroom and people will be wondering, where has he been? He was in the showroom having wilderness experience, putting himself together, refining himself, designing himself so that he can come out successful. You know, there are times that you need to be alone, sit alone, think positively, and know what to do per time. You don't run after people. People's successes shouldn't derail you, shouldn't make you miss what you are supposed to do. Because as a matter of fact, what looks like delay is often development process. What feels like waiting is often preparation. And you are being equipped emotionally, mentally, and spiritually and strategically for what you are about to handle. So nobody should tell you that you are late, that you're not married yet. Doesn't mean you're not going to get married. That you're not rich yet doesn't mean you're not going to get rich. It's all about times and season. Except if you're not positioned well. For every proper positioning, there would always be a proper positioning. If you position well, you possess well. If you arrive early without capacity, without success, you will be destroyed. Because you can only, let me tell you something, you can get to the top, but what keeps you at the top is your character. All right. If you don't have character and charisma, one day you would be displaced from the top. So you need to prepare yourself very well for every success that you're thinking of in your heart. If it is in your heart, it will get into your head and one day enters it will enter your hand. But if you get it fast without wisdom, you would lose it faster. Okay, let me just give this illustration. Think of an aircraft, for instance, before takeoff. It accelerates on the runway for a very long time before it gets off the track and fly and leave the ground. If it doesn't maintain that timing on the runway for that number of time, it can never accelerate. So that period that you are time is the preparation period for your takeoff. So don't allow anyone discourage you or tell you that you are late, you are behind, or whatever. To the untrained eye, it looks like delay, but without the runway, the plane cannot lift. Some of you are still on the runway, but lift is coming, lift is coming, you will be lifted. So what do you have to do? Okay, stop comparing yourself. The comparing chapter, you should close it. And stop apologizing for your pace. You don't owe anybody any apology for your pace, because it's only you that know what you are cooking. Start now as we speak, trusting your process, because any process you don't trust cannot work for you. Like I tell people, you don't sit under an imam that you don't believe in. You don't sit under a pastor that you don't believe in. All right? Because whatever, if the pastor is pronouncing blessing and you don't believe in that pastor, it is a cause for you. The same thing for the imam too. All right? So whatever process you don't believe in, any system you don't believe in, you don't have any business, all right, staying under that system. Delay, like they say, is not denial. And it is preparation in disguise. So you are not behind and you are not being aligned, and when your time comes, you won't just arrive, but you will be ready. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, and remember that you are a success going somewhere to happen. Don't allow anyone talk you down. Don't allow anyone tell you that you are late. Your time is coming, and that's the best time for you. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye for now.
All right, you're welcome back, and it's Global Morning on Global Television. Hope you were well inspired by the inspirational by Ramsey Enoch Agbo. At about this time is the newspaper review segment, and we'll start with the first paper of the day. It's the Daily Independent, and above the nameplate it says NAFDAC resumes full enforcement of ban on sachet alcohol. And the next read says, will soon resolve lingering emirship tussle, and that's from the Kano government. And the writer reads, Commissioner asks Deputy Governor to resign. And below the nameplate, it says, weak logistics trade gaps put Nigeria's opportunities at risk. And below all of that, on page 7 on the Daily Independent, it says, we're engaging Wike to resolve Rivers crisis. APC National Scribe. Okay, let's see how well that plays out. And on page 7 again, it says Shettima links renewed confidence in Nigeria's economy to Tinubu's reforms. And on page 6, it says Senate raises special committee to harmonize Electoral Act amendments. And that's on page 6. And on page 6 again, it says insecurity. Afenifere asks Southwest governors to straighten Ametokun, and the writer urges review of new tax acts, personal income tax, free threshold. And the Star story reads, Reps back Tinubu's economic reform, says painful but necessary. And we have three riders there. It says pass 58.18 trillion naira 2026 budget for second reading. And the second says probe alleged discriminatory recruitment at UCTH. Seek chief medical director's immediate suspension. And on the foot of the Daily Independent, it reads, Court grants Yahya Bello permission to travel to Saudi Arabia. And that's on page 6. Now, please go out and get yourself a copy of the Daily Independent to be well abreast with issues making rounds. Next, we have the Nigerian Tribune. Over to you now, Uyi.
All right, great. Let's begin that with the story, the headline rather, just above three of them, above the headline. For you, that's above the Nigerian Tribune name mast. It says, first top right corner, says FCT workers appeal industrial court ruling, resume strike. With a rider that tells us we are still in court, obey ruling, Wike tells workers. Of course, that's how it should be in the eye of the law. There's no closure to the case or the matter yet in the courts of first instance. So on what basis is the appeal being brought? The first order must be complied with, and then we'll move forward. All right. Rivers, APC discussing with Wike to resolve impasse, Basiru, national chairman. Here with a picture of Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Dr. Olayemi Kadoso. It says, Naira on recovery spree strengthens against major currencies. You can read up those details on page 6, and it leads us to the star headline. With a kicker, 2027 waiting game persists as Senate delays Electoral Act bill. Three riders. First says defers action till Tuesday. Raises mini committee to distill senators' views. We understand Senators Tambuwal and Oshomole are leading that committee. Reps step down consideration of outstanding clauses. We have some headlines on the left corner of the front page of the Nigerian Tribune today. 4 lenders set for strategic decision as recapitalization deadline approaches. We will create more institutions to make Oyo greater. That is credited to Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde. Borno State Governor orders direct payments of local government allocations. And then a bit of health as well. Scientists develop injection that repairs brain after stroke. Don't I just feel excited?
I am excited about that.
It says that scientists develop injection that repairs brain after stroke.
Oh, God.
You know, somebody mentioned how that his grandmother had stroke some years ago, and he flashed a picture from way back when I was in primary school of a neighbor who had a this sort of hand that got kicked out of form on account of what my mom told me at that age was partial stroke. I don't think I had the mental part to understand what partial stroke was. But as I grew older, I realized that it's not even something you would wish on a foe.
No.
And now that we're hearing that even after such a devastating impact, there is some sort of remedy to help fix the brain, I think it's a whole lot of consolation.
It is a whole lot of consolidation because, the truth is, now picture this in your mind or in your head now. Someone who has been vibrant for a very long period of time, up and doing, knows how to do stuff for him, for himself or herself.
Largely independent.
And the next thing you know, boom, the person is on one position. Cannot get up, cannot go to the bathroom. Even if the person can, he needs or she needs assistance, especially when it's the critical kind of stroke. There's first stage, second stage, and the third stage that leads to the one that the person is limited or is bedridden.
Right.
So, it takes a toll on the individual. Psychologically, mentally, it takes a toll because the person cannot imagine that, oh my goodness, the hand is beginning, it's deformed now. The mouth is tilted to the other side. It's a very painful experience. I have family members, who have experienced this. It's not a palatable situation, but at the same time, it brings hope. It gives rest that, hey, scientists in China, they're going along because they know how detrimental this can be and can take a toll on families, especially when it's the head of the family that is involved, that has stroke, or the wife, or it takes a toll. But with this, it's consolidating to here, and it's good. I am happy. Hopefully it's brought to Nigeria, and hopefully it's tested well, and we're sure a lot of people actually benefit. It will bring joy and really hope to many families, really.
Well, you can read up those details on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune today. Hopefully this in itself has gone past the clinicals, and then will be ultimately democratized, so to speak, so that, as Jumai mentioned, it can also be available to our continent. All right?
Very important.
Opposition alliance will chase APC out in 2027. That is credited to a very high-ranking member of the New Nigeria People's Party, Buba Galadima. Says opposition ready to queue behind most popular candidates. Well, what's more, Kano governor must submit NNPP's mandate before defection. He adds, there has never been any governor in this country since 1999 who defected and quote-unquote submitted mandate. Well, maybe we can start a research path on that. In the meantime, this is where we hang our boots on the Nigerian Tribune. Please read up details for yourself. Juma has headlines for us from The Guardian newspaper.
All right, now from The Guardian newspaper now, below the nameplate, it says here, cargo agents kick as FAN increases tariff by 257%. And that read you will find on page 3. And on page 30, on The Guardian, it says, Senate probes warning, is it warning on Wanin Abuja Kaduna railway operations? And that read you will find on page 30. And on page 3 it says fuel hike imminent as oil prices exceed budget benchmark. And that is on page 3. And the big stories on page 4 and 5, it says how Vacities mass produce research without solutions to societal ills. And below that it says Amotekun, and it says denies accidental discharge as Owo training ground. Unfortunate incident there. Hope no one was hurt. And that is on page 28. On page 20 on The Guardian, it reads, NCC removes 450 illegal signal boosters, reassigns spectrum. And that's, of course, on the business page there. On page 29, it says, IPOB faults Solido's threat to revoke Onitsha Market's ownership rights. Okay. And on page 6, it says, APC weighs leadership shakeup as Ndume warns of northern discontentment. Here it says on page 30, Wike commissioned 12 ambulances as FCTA workers resumes strike. Okay. And on page, moving on now to page 30, says here, Zulum okays direct payment of monthly allocations to Borno local governments. And it says 58.4 trillion naira budget scales through second reading without debate. And that's on page 6. Please go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast with the issues on The Guardian. Next, we have The Punch with some very punchy headlines. Over to you, Uyi.
All right, thank you, Jubai. We have just one headline above the name mast of The Punch this morning with the Kika 2027 Oshomole Tamwa on Senate's high-stakes Electoral Act review panel. Those are details waiting for you on page 2. And I just entered the nameplate with a picture of the president of the World Bank. It says $750 million World Bank loan. Federal government may raise taxes on alcohol, cigarettes. And then the Star headline, federal government's 9 trillion naira domestic loans surge drains lifeline from businesses. Has one rider with it, telling us private sector lending falls as federal government's domestic borrowing jumps 152%. Economists say stricter loan rules choking off business funding. The right corner of the front page says APC engaging Wike to resolve Rivers crisis, says Bashiru on page 29. Meter costs spark Disco's federal government showdown on tariffs on page 22. And lastly, plane crash kills Colombia lawmaker, 14 others. You have pictures of that very fatal accident right here on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. We encourage you to read up details and stay ahead of fake news as we now turn over to the Daily Sun newspaper.
All right, now the Daily Sun newspaper. Beside the nameplate of the Daily Sun, that's page 8, it says, Senate stalls consideration of Electoral Act Amendment Bill over lawmakers' concerns. And we have one rider there. It says, set up committee to harmonize differences. And below all of that, it says, Oyema, Airpeace founder, to chair the Sun Awards tomorrow, okay? Now, the Star Story reads on page 6, 2027 poll, Ndume warns Tinubu, APC, and we have 3 riders there, claims gambling in North will affect election outcome, accuses president of shutting Northern elders out. Afenifere, ACF, CUPP, NCE, others divided. And below all of that, it says, Afenifere decries insecurity in Southwest. ECWA calls for urgent action. And that's on page 28. On page 8, it says, excitement as W Motors unveils Junta G700 with unprecedented warranty package, okay? And on page 26, it says, Wike Hills Health Team promises more FCT hospital upgrades. And the rider reads, orders recruitment of more personnel. Okay. Page 9 says, Senate raises committee to approve $1 million train project. And that is all on the Daily Sun. Go out and get yourself a copy to be well abreast. And next we have the First Daily.
All right, so let's start with the headline. Just on the nameplate has a picture of the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello. From courtroom to Holy Land, Yahaya Bello gets Mecca travel nod. I like the way the Daily, First Daily puts it, because we understand a court of law now has granted him leave to go to Saudi. Yes, so that's the basis on which this sort of if you like, headline has been couched. He
has to go pray for the intervention of God concerning this.
We look forward to seeing him soon.
Yes, truly.
Okay, let's move on the front page of the First Daily now. Soludo draws the line. I can revoke Onitsha main markets, turn it into a school. Of course, the governor has those powers.
Yes, he does.
To what extent would that serve the best interest of the Onitsha people, and of course people across this country who come to that market to patronize traders on several commodities? But the governor's point is clear. There has been insecurity across the southeast, especially in places around Anambra. And the governor says you can't have a legitimate government in place. And then you have a bunch of proscribed people saying that they should be sit at home.
Exactly.
You can't have parallel governments, especially in a country like Nigeria where we practice democracy.
Yes.
We want to see how this will turn out. People say in some cases that the governor has taken a very drastic step. But the governor is saying that you can't have 2 captains in one boat.
No, you cannot. You cannot. And of course, we know the power, where the power falls on. So I think it's a step in the right direction. Sometimes you have to put your foot down. It doesn't matter what individual might say. It could be risky, it could be dicey. But at the same time, you have to set that standard. Leadership, they say, it's hard work. It takes no one is going to like you when you're in leadership. Because if you're making the wrong decisions. But if you look at it critically, you cannot have 2 captains in a ship. And one must preside over one. So for me, it's a step in the right direction to put your foot down in order to curb this will I say, menace that's happening in Anambra State. Because it's unfortunate that you have a governor and then there are some individuals who have actually taken it upon themselves to actually cause havoc in that particular state, making it look as if they're the ones that are ruling and not the governor. The governor is just a figurehead there. He doesn't really have a say. So he has to put his foot down in order for sanity to return. It's going to be hard. Is it going to be difficult? Oh, yes. Is it going to be something that can happen in one day? Of course not. But with time I'm sure there will be headway. I think it's important because this has gone on for too long. This sit at home. It affects individuals. It affects travels. It affects you going to the market. It affects daily life. And this sit at home, for me, I think it's a menace in that state. But people feel that's the right way to pass on their message. But there are other ways to pass a message, really.
Well, let's move on. Hopefully, this is resolved in good enough time in the overall interest of the good people of the great state of Anambra, that, I mean, those we popularly call Indi Anambra. All right, Falana condemns Makoko demolition, says action is unconstitutional. Senate probes railway failures, rising security lapses. Nigeria, Saudi Arabia sign landmark labor recruitment pact. To what end? Well, read up details on the First Daily today. Northern Khan rejects Sharia Council call against INEC chair. FCCA workers defy Wike, resume strike despite court order. Well, that's a bit on the extreme, but well, find context by reading of the details. Police dismantle transnational sex trafficking ring in Enugu. Fayose, 2027 presidential race belongs to Peter Obi. On what basis did he come to that conclusion? Find out on the First Daily newspaper today. Those are all the headlines therefrom, as we turn now to look at some business for you from the Business Day newspaper.
All right, now the Business Day newspaper, above the nameplate, it says here, Benin Republic woos Nigerian manufacturers with tax breaks. Okay, now below all of that, it reads at the side where the big story is, more than half of Nigerian CEOs bet on revenue surge in 2026. And it says CEOs bet big on AI to drive growth. Now, the star story on the Business Day says Nigerian female artists loved abroad, overlooked at home. Well, that's a very sad read.
It is.
Because, like they say, a white chick is not appreciated in his own town. And it's just unfortunate that, well, this is what it is. Nigerian female artists abroad, people love them, they call upon them, but you just see them on the streets and you just don't pay much mind to them. What we do in some sort of way, is it that we don't do it enough, or what's the problem here?
We don't do it enough, maybe we don't do it intentionally, maybe we don't do it consistently. You see, there are elements in all of this.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not so much about doing the right thing. For how long are you doing the right thing?
Yeah, you're right. All right, basically that's it on the Business Day newspaper. Please go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast with issues making round. Next paper, the Daily Monitor.
Right, well, let's call it our second to last paper this morning, as we begin with the headlines now, just above the nameplate for you. Top right corner first, with a picture of the Controller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, says Customs rakes in 454.6 million naira, seizes 4.1 billion naira contraband in Ogun. Border crackdown on page 2. Ends killings, kidnapping, ECOWA urges federal government. Electoral Act, Senate yet to conclude bill, sets up ad hoc committee. Has a picture of President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, with details on page 4. Rivers, APC governors not worried over impeachment process against Fubara. That is credited to Governor Sole of Nasarawa State. And then the Star headline, Khan knocks Sharia Council over attacks on INEC chairman. Politicizing religion has one rider associated with it. Says comments on Muslim tickets by Minister Hanatu shows coordinated action to undermine Christians in 2027. NARD gives federal government 4-week ultimatum, extends strike, warns that failure to meet agreed timelines lead to renewed nationwide industrial action. Juma, incidentally, we're back here to this NARD issue again.
Yes, we are.
You know, they took a break, that's the word I can find right now, off that strike the other time, saying that window will allow both parties, that is the federal government and the resident doctors,
Exactly.
iron out their differences. But now again, there's an ultimatum saying that if the federal government flouts it, we'll be back on the streets.
For individuals that have been following on this, most people knew that it would definitely come to this.
Right.
That we will still go back and forth on this matter because it was unresolved at the beginning, and it was unresolved since 2009, and then it's unresolved now in the present. So I think basically a lot of individuals are tired. They just give the doctors what they want. It's very important. It's their right. It's their benefit, and they're doing so much. So it's just unfortunate that we are still back to this matter. I will not be surprised if they go back and say, okay, fine, we've called off the strike, we're going to talk to the federal government. It's the same thing over and over again. Same cycle. We all know how it's going to play out at the long run. So I think the government should please do what is needed, and NARD should please stand their guard. If you're going to go on the strike, I'm not promoting strike, but if that's the best way to get your what you want, if that's the best way to promote and for individuals to understand your plight, stick to your guards. By all means, please. It's very important.
All right. Well, those are your headlines from the Daily Monitor this morning. And let's now turn to our last paper, the Vanguard newspaper. And Jemai has the headlines for us.
All right, the Vanguard newspaper, above the nameplate, it says Nigeria's telecoms industry attracted over $1 billion in 2025. And that's from NCC. Northern Can Christian leaders reject call for removal of INEC chair. And that's on page 9. And still on this, on page 9, it says here, reps passed 2026 58.18 trillion naira budget for second reading. Electoral Act, Senate set up committee to galvanize opinion of senators. And the Star story reads on page 5, petrol to cost more as crude oil price rises further. And the writer says Bonnie Light hit $70.30. U.S. crude inventories fall as tension in Middle East heightens. Diesel, here it says, diesel prices go up and petrol remains unchanged. Expect pressure on businesses, households, and that's from experts. Clash by Wizkid Sheung Kuti over Fela's legacy refuses to fade. And that's on page 14. And at the foot of the Vanguard, it says over 160 members held by kidnappers in Kaduna, Kogi, and that's Ekwa. And here it says AFCON final saga, CAF's hammer falls on Senegal, Morocco. And basically that is it on the Vanguard newspaper. Please go out and get yourself a copy of the Vanguard to be well abreast with issues making round. That brings us to the end of the newspaper review segment. And just to know that Global Television has no impute whatsoever in any of the editorial judgments on the paper. It was read just the way it was on the papers. Up next is Social Buzz by Ogochukwu Mobono. Stay tuned.
When social media speaks, we'll listen and we'll bring you the extra. It's your one-stop show for trends, truth, and the tea everyone sips. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get the extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global Television.
Good morning, the Global Morning crew, and good morning to you, our viewers, of course. It's Friday morning, and we're looking at stories making round on social media, and this one we're taking it from Lagos, where comedian D1 has been invited by the police, and we want to see his reaction. What happened? What led to the invite? I am Ogot Kumobnor. All right, let's look into the stories for today. And D1 has reacted after the Nigerian Police Force Intelligence Department Lagos Annex invited him for questioning hours after he made a video about the fall President Tinubu had during his visits in Turkey. The president was walking alongside with the Turkish president when he stumbled and fell. The presidency, in a statement released, dismissed any claims that the president suffered a medical scare. In the video released online, D1 asked the president to go home and rest. He went further to mention the names of past presidents who passed away while in office. He asked the president to go and rest and asked the ruling party to ask President Tinubu to go home and rest. He also asked Sheyi Tinubu to ask his father to go and rest. All in a video shared online, in the early hours of, Wednesday. D1 also said he has been invited for questioning by the police and suspects that it may be because of the video he shared about President Tinubu's fall in Turkey. He said he'll be honoring the invitation by Monday, the February 2nd. I would like us to take a look at the video where he actually explained the content of the invite.
Dear Nigerians, the Nigerian Police Force has invited me, and I'm going to read the content of the letter to you. The Commissioner of Police, the Nigerian Police Force, Force Intelligence Department, FID, Lagos Annex, Ken Salem House, Obalende, Lagos, Aderumbi Adedayo, aka D1, letter of invitation. This office is conducting an inquiry in which there is a reasonable ground to invite you for a routine interview. Number 2, it is a fact-finding invitation, and you are requested to interview the Commissioner of Police through the OC-CIOS team. Venue, FID Annex Office, Ken Salem House, Obalende, Lagos. Thanks for your cooperation. Signed, the Commissioner of Police, Force Intelligence Department, Annex, Obalende, Lagos, CP Akaniyeni Ezima, Commissioner of Police, FID, FHQ, Annex, Lagos. Now, to the Inspector General of Police, sir, Mr. Kayode Egbetokun, I saw something strange that happened in Turkey and that involved our president, our dear president, and I aired my view as a normal Nigerian. If it is about my video yesterday, because I've had a lot of calls, a lot of people have said different things. D1 is cyberbullying. You should have mentioned the president's son. You should have talked about the president. Some people have said, oh, something happened. Somebody involved your name. They want to use you to find somebody. Different things. But if it's about my video yesterday, I do not regret it. And I don't think I have done anything wrong or said anything wrong. I will not apologize if it is about my video yesterday. As a good citizen of Nigeria, on Monday, by God's grace, I'm going to honor this invitation, and I'll be there at Ken Salem House, Obalende. I will keep Nigerians posted on everything pertaining to this invitation. Everywhere good, my people. Everywhere good. D1 here. Shalom. Dear Nigerians, I know that after this video, many of you will insult me.
All right, that was comedian D1 there, and but fair, let's be fair to the police. There was nowhere in the statement where it was reading that D1 was invited, or what it read that D1 was invited because of the video he made earlier. But speculations here and there, because that is the only recent video he made, and they feel like, okay, maybe that's the reason why he was invited by the police. But let's keep our fingers crossed. Of course, he said he's going to be updating us even when he visits the station by Monday, the 2nd of February, concerning that. But then we still have reactions on social media that we're going to be taking this morning. And the first reaction is coming from Olawale Lemani. And Olawale says, we are in a democracy and every citizen has the right to voice their opinion. Of course, every citizen have the right to voice their opinion. But then again, after voicing, we don't know if you have any right again after that part. So the second comment is coming from My Africa 36, and My Africa says, I didn't see anything wrong with what he said. High words are respectful, discreet and kind. Or I think he said, what it means is his words are respectful, discreet and kind. Yes. All right. The third comment there is from Shop Everything. And Shop Everything says, the goal is to instill fear and silence the people. All right, these are the thoughts of the people who commented on social media concerning this topic. But then, yes, we are still going to dissect it here in the studio as usual. And I'm not alone. I have with me Uyi Agomofwe. Good morning, Uyi.
Good morning to you, Agojiku Mabuno. So good to see you.
All right, so we are talking about D1, comedian D1, after, the president missed a step there in Turkey, which I think can happen to anyone. There are speculations, here and there. I don't think it's just because of his age, because we've seen the president very strong walking. So I just want to think is, he missed his step there, but I don't know. People are speculating different things. According to D1, he says he thinks the president is old enough to rest and not move around like he is doing. So please, concerning the arrest, the invitation, please, let's talk about that.
Okay, I think maybe we should, excuse me, do what I would like to call anti-clockwise analysis of this. So let's start from the end. First of all, the letter apparently does not categorically mention that you're being invited over the video that you shared. So let's not open room for much speculations. Let's wait until Monday, the 2nd of February, and see how it turns out. At least by then, we would have been able to establish the basis upon which you have been invited, all right? And so much so, it's also important to know that this is a standard practice. And you have done well as a good citizen to say that you will honor the invitation. So that brings closure to that. Again, we wait until after you would have met with the police authority in Lagos, and then we know what happens going forward. And I'd like to suggest that you do this with your lawyer in the picture. Your lawyer has got to, follow through with all of this, all right? Before, during, and even after your interface with the police on Monday, all else equal. That's very important. Second, we must also know that there is the Cybercrime Prohibition Act in Nigeria. Yes. It's an extant law, which means it's a law in addition to what lawyers call the grand norm, the Constitution. And what they say basically in law is that ignorance of the law is not an excuse. So cyberbullying is real, cyberstalking is real. A few years before now, it wasn't the case, so people could get away with some of these things. Very true. While your intention may be pure, I mean, you're harmless, you're concerned, genuinely concerned about the president's well-being, because no matter what side of the divide you're on, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is our president, whether he's in Nigeria or anywhere abroad. Very true. So when that incident happened, people were genuinely concerned on the one hand. There were also those who made mockery of the situation. But of course, the presidency came out to say, look, it was a piece of steel on the ground that the president tripped over. Let's not take attention away from the big issues that we're dealing with as a country and be, if you like, obsessed with all of these. These are pedestrian issues. There are bigger concerns that we have as a country. The reasons the president even went to Turkey in the first instance should be our concern. What value will he bring? Because he flew there, took an entourage there with taxpayers' money, your money and my money. That should be some investment. So we should now be asking, what is the ROI, that is the return on investment that the president is bringing to Nigerians, as against now obsessing and, if you like,
over the fall or
exactly
of the president.
We have seen the best of presidents in the world stumble and fall. We saw during a rally, I mean, the immediate past president of the US, Joe Biden, he fell, and he fell real hard. He moved on. He still completed the assignment, moved on, continued to be the U.S. president. So let's not be obsessed over all of these superficial issues. And then lastly, let's also understand that we must now realize we live in a social media age. The government in particular must realize that. So this is no longer the age of legacy, or, if you will, traditional broadcasting, where you are able to regulate, you are able to strictly create guardrails. You don't have those guardrails on social media, so people are going to say a lot. This is happening because, of course, this is somebody who has a strong presence on social media. This is somebody who is based on the soil here. What if that be some, if you like, random entity or random individual, maybe even a Nigerian who lives off the shores of this country? What do you do? So we must now take that into consideration in terms of how we regulate and how we try to manage the media space as we know it. It is 2026, and the earlier we wake up to that reality, the better for us.
Oh, thank you so much, Oye, for your contribution. So that means, in a nutshell, let's look at focus on the goal, the reason why he went to Turkey, and not him sleeping. You've heard it there from Oye. Thank you once more, Oye, for your contribution. All right, that's all we have for you today on Social Pulse here on Global Morning. I am Ogochukwu Mobno. Please stay with us as Global Morning continues.
When social media speaks, we'll listen and we'll bring you the extra. It's your one-stop show for trends, truth, and the tea everyone sips. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get the extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk. Only on Global Television.
New Imo is on the rise. In the beating heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the scenes, vision meets action. Governor Hope Uzodinma's leadership has left the pages of manifestos to become real actions and achievements. Transformations that piece by piece feels like a miracle. But progress needs peace to thrive. And in Imo, we are not leaving it to chance. From land to sky to river deep, guardians are always watching, protecting dreams and opportunities. If you go to the quiet shore of Orashi Power, you will see the awakening of a hydropower roaring to electrify and energize a blossoming economy. The change is visible. The heartland of the East is under construction as new roads are threading together once forgotten places. Industry is humming again and communities are alive. At the center of it all, a digital revolution is rising. A new ministry with a new mission. Not just cables and codes, but capacity. 500,000 young minds trained each year to build a digital future. And as Orashi Power goes up, so does Imo, lifting with it the hopes of a hard-working people. A new Imo is on the rise.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
All right, well, first of all, thanks to Ogochukwu Mobuno for bringing that piece of news on the show this morning. But you see, for some people who think this is comedy because the person involved is a comedian, you've got to think again, because when it comes to cyberbullying, cyber stalking, there are no jokes about it. Of course, D1 understands that much, which is the reason he had to do a special video to set the record straight. But at the heart of it is the understanding that he knows, like anyone else, or at least like most people, that he will be doing himself a favor. He will be conducting himself very honorably by showing up based on that invitation, which is very, very important. And more importantly, we must now understand that, yes, we have all the smart devices at our fingertips. We have access to the internet around the clock. How we use these tools, how we deploy these resources is as important as the resources themselves. Because the fact that it's social media and some people say is an ungoverned space does not mean you still will not be held liable. We're seeing many cases across the world, whether at home or overseas, where there have been, court judgments saying that, look, you've got to pay XYZ amount by way of damage because of how much you have damaged someone's reputation, how much you have dragged them in the mud, so to say. But again, this morning, like we said earlier, we'll be turning our attention to Edo State, where we understand the state government has now announced plans to float an airline. Apparently, Edo State is not the first, but what is different and what exactly is the motivation in this case? We'll talk to you about those and much more after this break. Please stay with us. Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
we delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
New Imo is on the rise. In the beating heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the scenes, vision meets action. Governor Hope Uzodinma's leadership has left the pages of manifestos to become real actions and achievements. Transformations that piece by piece feels like a miracle. But progress needs peace to thrive, and in Imo, we are not leaving it to chance. From land to sky to river deep, guardians are always watching, protecting dreams and opportunities. If you go to the quiet shore of Orashi Power, you will see the awakening of a hydropower roaring to electrify and energize a blossoming economy. The change is visible. The heartland of the East is under construction as new roads are threading together once forgotten places. Industry is humming again and communities are alive. At the center of it all, a digital revolution is rising. A new ministry with a new mission. Not just cables and codes, but capacity. 500,000 young minds trained each year to build a digital future. And as Orashi Power goes up, so does Imo, lifting with it the hopes of a hard-working people. A new Imo is on the rise.
Let's get a conversation on the road for you now, everyone. The aviation sector, or industry, if you will, is as promising as it is challenging. It's the reason every now and then you hear about stories regarding operational and revenue issues, whether operators that are here with us operating domestically or the big players who have found some sort of global foothold. However, just a few years ago, subnationals, in that case specifically states governments, now started also throwing their hearts in the ring regarding becoming players in this very sensitive sector as well. At that point, there were people across this country, politicians and even private sector individuals, who said state governments have absolutely no business in floating airlines or even, as it were, establishing airports. We've seen that happen across a handful of states in this country, and to end, it appears to be a whole new horizon for many of these state governments. Akwa Ibom, for example, has done that. We've seen that with Ekiti. And again, Edo State government now says it is bent on joining that league and wants that to happen as quickly as possible. And things are moving really fast on that lane. We understand, following a meeting between Edo State Governor Senator Monday Okpebholo with the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, SAN, the state government has now announced that going forward, the ambition is to float an airline. And in response to that, we also are learning that the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development has now set up a committee to help straighten out this entire process, which means commitments on that front has already started. However, questions abound. For example, on what basis has the state government now thought it pertinent and timely to float an airline? Second, what framework would be put in place to ensure continuity and sustainability beyond the Okpebholo administration? To help us answer these questions and understand what exactly is going on in this regard, we're joined by a member of the All Progressives Congress, which, by the way, is the ruling party in Edo State, a gentleman who doubles as a financial analyst, to help us find sense in these developments. Aruna Abrahamo, we're delighted to have you on the program.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. Thank
Good
you
morning.
for being a part of the program.
Yeah.
All right, let's follow the money, as they say. Edo State government wants to float an airline. And for many people who have seen what some state governments have done in the aviation sector recently, this is nothing surprising at all. But talk to us about what makes this, if you like, a project of priority for the Okpebholo-led government.
Beyond the position of beyond Okpebholo as a governor, this is not about him. This is about the economic prosperity of Edo State. Right. This is about another sound vision that is backed by a mission statement to deliver to Edo people.
Right.
If we cast our mind back, Edo has actually been lagging behind when it comes to aviation industry-related businesses. The Benin Airport was created in 1957. It was managed by PW, the outfit, until independence, and until it was remodeled between 1975 and 1978 and handed over. You can imagine how long an airport has been existing in Benin. And you know our historical trajectory as a state and as the Great Benin Kingdom, the role we play pre-independence, post-independence, even pre-amalgamation. Benin City has been very, very critical and relevant. So it was an economic hub even before colonialism. Before expedition, it was a hub, and it has been like that. And to imagine that an airport of that nature has been there, and the government upon government have not taken a look to leverage on the economic side of it to do business. Because the real essence of governance is to create platform for business to thrive. When a government is now saying that, yeah, this is the time, and it's more ripe now, owing to the fact that the aviation industry has expanded. Economically, the aviation industry in Nigeria is $2.5 billion. An industry of $2.5 billion, and with a state that is, or a city that is the 5th largest city in Nigeria, Benin City, and with a state that is the 7th economic largest economy in Nigeria among the subnationals, Edo States, it is ripe enough. And a hub in the south-south, you understand? And by extension, southeast, it has been a hub and it's still a hub. Today, there's no functional airline in some other states in the south-south and southeast. So Benin has over the years become an air transit point. And it's an opportunity, and the Governor Okpebholo-led administration has seen that this is an advantage to facilitate the bringing on for an airline owned by Edo. In 2016, we were having just one airline flying into Edo. As at 2023-2024, we are having about 9 to 10 different airlines operating on the Edo air route. You see how constantly the progressive viability of the markets has been. You understand?
Right.
And don't forget that the first private airline in Nigeria was run from that airport, the Okada Air. First private airline in Nigeria before the coming of all the latter day airlines that we're not talking about today. So we are not new to this. It's like an economic renaissance. Trying to reinvent into a sector that is so good and viable, that can drive the prosperity not just for Edo State, across the strata, for Delta State, support Rivers State, because they already have an international airport
right,
that has not been really flowing. And with the economic expansion, Edo State GDP as at 2023, economy-wise, was $25.5 billion. Constant expansion. Both foreign investors are coming in. There is the need for an airport, for an airline in Edo, and the Okpebholo-led administration has seen that need, and he has taken the bull by the horn, keen into it, creating every necessary legal, structural, ownership, and economic framework to see to the realization of the dream. And that is where we are. Both for IGRO, promote tourism, economies of scale, SMEs will grow, a lot will happen, employment generation, and on the long run, open up the southeast and south-south hub as far as aviation development is concerned.
Now, what do you think prompted or informed the federal government to set up a committee in regards to the plans of Edo State to set up an airline at this time?
Because like what Festus Keyamo said, SAN, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, it took us back on history that actually the states deserve this, because we've had the infrastructure, one of the oldest airports in Nigeria. You understand? We've had the infrastructure over the years. We have the economic potentials over the years for an airport or for an airline to operate in that place. We've had everything. And since a governor is now deeming it fit and necessary and now keen into that, they have no other obligation than to key and partner with the state government. When a vision is very good, when a vision is well defined, when a vision is straight to point of what they want to achieve, in everything, both the risk analysis, feasibility studies done and everything, and you present to the federal government under federalism, certainly the federal government will not have any choice than to key into it. And they have seen the zeal in His Excellency's Governor Monday Okpebholo's idea, like he said in that meeting, that if it was possible, you want the airline to start operating as soon as possible. You know, and you also heard what the minister said, that hopefully with the accelerated engagement, partnership, and with the possible investors carrying on the way they are starting, we can see this coming to fruition in the second quarter or third quarter of this year.
All right, I'd like to ask, I'm just curious, based on the news coming out on account of this announcement by the state government. Dr. Samson Isibo leads the Conference of Registered Political Parties, CRPP, in Edo State. And now he says that rather than the floating airline, which he, in his own reckoning, considers flamboyant, why does not the government invest that money in infrastructure? He says there are moribund, if you like, industries. For example, he talked about the fruit processing or juice processing factory in Iho. He talked about the cassava processing plants. He mentioned at least about 2 of them. He talked about the Bender breweries, even though we know the Oshiomhole government had long told us that was now a subject of litigation. We don't know how far we've come with that. But he says there should be other areas of pressing need where this funding and energy and other vital resources should go to as against aviation. Does it not make sense to that extent?
To some extent, it does not make sense. It's sounding political, then it's forcing me to want to sound political. To now reference these same people in opposition were clapping for Obaseki, the last administration, when he was signing fictitious MOU and billions were being carted away as revealed by the asset verification committees. Without this investment coming to reality, they were clapping for him. Today, they are telling Okpebholo that creating an enabling environment. Okpebholo has not said, Governor Monday Okpebholo has not said Edo State government is going to own the airline. You know, Nigeria will always look for an opportunity to critique. We don't look in details. He has said they are working in partnership with some airline development groups from South Africa. It's not even more than, it's more than one.
So it's not a one-man show?
It's not a one-man show. And certainly the government is not bringing its money to do this, to float to say we're going to be buying airlines and all that. They're going to go into technical, operational, and ownership structural partnership with these people from South Africa. You understand? And we are looking at 10 to 20% equity holding for the state government, which may not necessarily be tied to fund. You understand? When Benefit and Flaming was envisaged and brought to being in 1986 in the then Bender states, the state government did not commit 1 naira to IBN. IBN Industrial Barnard AG. They were in Hamburg. They came from Hamburg, in Germany, led by Notbayer. When they came to invest and build one of the then fastest growing farming company in Nigeria. You understand? They gave Edo State government 20% ownership structure based on provision of the land at Ewu.
The then Bender State.
The then Bender State. Which now, during the, after the creation of Edo Delta, the properties were shared, and Edo State government retained, in 1990, Edo State government retained the benefit and farming. There was no 1 naira commitment, but there was land, land as a critical factor of production was provided by the government and other necessary governmental bureaucratic support. You understand? Exactly what, when Abu Salih created the Obareti farm, that is now today turned to Presco. Presco were just investors in it. Presco oil, that we now talk about today. Until they now have to buy the complete ownership arrangement. And became the biggest. They provided the State government, Benue State government then of Abu Salih, provided the land, planted the first seedlings, nurtured Obareti palm oil estates to reality. You understand? Things has been like that. Government is not a crime for government to get involved in a business that is of critical nature, of needs to the people. You understand? I just told you now how the route, the Benin route has grown over the years, just from 2016 to date. How many private airlines are running that, applying that route with a state-backed airline operating in that route? The IGR of the state will come to buffer. The economic prosperity of the state will increase. There will be employment generation. Some of these airlines they are going to be operated. That is going to be the Benin City will be the headquarters of the airline. Hangars will be built. Operational facilities will be built. Technical support equipment will be coming from outside Nigeria. That is capital, bringing capital from outside Nigeria in equipment. Capital is not limited to FDI in dollars. You understand? If I want to also talk on what he was talking about, the juice processing factory did not go beyond the block setting stage. There was no singular machinery deployed to the juice processing plant in Umuodo local government area of Edo State. Under their own party, Lucky Benedio, the cassava processing plant in Uromi, the same thing. They should show us if there was any machinery or equipment installed there that was now abandoned. And the SSLC Governor Monday led administration has not also stopped. He's just set up a committee under the Commissioner for Economic Development and Trade and Economic Development in Edo, to go around the whole Edo State. You understand? To know and recover some of these moribund outfits, so that we can also partner with private people to come and take them over. Just a few weeks ago, the Agbede Warake farm was created in the late 70s and 80s. the Sugbenu farm. These were all farms that were into agro-related activities, especially rice farming. They were all liquidated and they went moribund. As we speak now, the partners are around under PPP arrangement. The essay on agriculture was there, I think 2 weeks ago, going around from Ekpoma to Agbedewarake, revisiting all these farms. They are doing critical partnership assessment, and bulldozers have been released. Planting will start very soon. Partnership with agro-related partners. Remember when he went abroad talking about the foreign investors, I was telling you, you remember the chambers of commerce, the issue that brought about noise among the opposition. I explained to you that they said areas in agriculture, mining, right, and tourism. And we are now seeing some of these things coming in. So the Obama administration is not leaving any sector to die. It's reviving the ones that can be revived. Not only them 100%, bringing partners who can work with them, because he already owns the land. You understand? Right. Why areas that he needs innovation? Area that he feels that, okay, it's long overdue for us to drive investment in this economic aspect of the states. Aviation, that is more than about 4 trillion naira industry. And you are telling a state that this is the 5th largest city in Nigeria not to take advantage of it.
You know, talking about all of this now, why does the CR people feel this is not the right time for Edo State to venture into airline business with all of these benefits?
Madam, let me explain something to you. No, world over, there is not always the right time for any reform or any venture from government, even from individual. Either you encounter procrastination, I will. You understand? So these same people will still be on the long run when it has become a reality. They will be not just commending, they will be in that airline, in that aircraft. They will be flying Edo Air. The government, where they are getting it wrong, the government is not saying we are bringing out XYZ billions amount of money to go and purchase aircrafts. They are saying that we have worked out modality with some foreign outfits who are into airlines. They want to give us airlines and everything to operate, install, run and operate arrangement where they can get their money back. You understand? Under the structural brand of Edo Airline, with Edo State holding 10 to 20% equity in infrastructure provision. Okay. So when the capital, imagine the inflow that is coming from outside Nigeria to drive this project. So not that Nigeria Edo State government is carrying billions of naira to abroad to go and invest, to go and buy aircraft. Rather, the foreign people, they are bringing the aircraft to Nigeria to come and invest in Nigeria, to come and invest in Benin City, building the airline in Benin City, operating it in Benin City, giving ownership, equity, stake again to the government, and it become an Edo brand. That is another tourism impact. Edo Air. Imagine it.
I want us to talk about 2 things. These are very critical. First, let's talk about timeline, because every project must have a timeline, especially one as gigantic as this one being advanced by Edo State government. That's one for timeline. The second is turnaround time. Is the government doing this from a place of desperation in such a way that it has to be rush kind of process, haphazard approach, or is the government, and of course, in this case, the partners, are they clear on timeline and turnaround time?
All these have already been encapsulated in the feasibility study. Before you embark on any project, you carry out critical assessment. Right. You do your feasibility study, you do your environmental impact analysis, you do your risk analysis, you do your beneficiary benefit, you do your RO, return on investment analysis, everything that, even the gearing, the cash flow, whatever that is going to involve in that economic activities of your investment would have been assessed. You assess for the present, you create room for future possible risk, and you also create basis in case this possible risk arise. how are we going to sort it out? This is a complete package. And for a government to now approach, for a state government to now approach the federal government on this, and for the federal government to now accept and set up a further working committee for us to be, for the state and the federal agency to be meetings and streamlining things out. It shows that everything that ought to be done as far as that project is concerned has been done by the state government.
Some people will look
at if there was no commitment,
right,
endorsements and readiness from the critical partners, the private partners from abroad, I don't think the governor will move to go and hold meeting with the Minister for Aviation and Aerospace Development.
I think it's natural. We talk about policy elements here. You mentioned Okada Air, which of course by the 80s and maybe briefly into the 90s was a big deal, was the pride of the South generally, and of course Nigeria. But then again, a couple of things happened. Okada Air is history today. We don't want to go into all of those rigorous details. However, in our contemporary times, when you look at Ibom Air, for example, it's inspiring, their story, how they started, how they've been running, and where they are today, and hopefully where they are heading. The challenge is, much as we know there's some substantial, at least in potential, private sector participation or involvement in these, policies will change. And when policies change, or when policies somersault, as they say, the reality that does not have regard for whether you have private sector investment or not. So how do we hope to also insulate these against that?
We are looking at, first of all, democracy has a not inverse but direct relationship with private enterprise,
right,
liberalism,
ideally,
capitalism, economic expansion. That is what democracy entails. Democracy has come to stay in Nigeria. When other issues happen, you mentioned the Okada Air, we are not having democracy. There was military fiat. A president or a commander-in-chief, a military head of state can wake up today and make a pronouncement that will grant you understand?
Right.
Today, Dangote is becoming one of the richest man in Nigeria in Africa since 2007 to date, and we are still counting, and it's still expanding in an economy where there has been policies amendment, not necessarily policy change. There have been political change in governance, yet Dangote is once stronger. There have been political change in governance, yet Rabiu Boasimet is once stronger.
Abdul Samad.
They are diversifying from raw material to building material production, cement production. They've gone into consumable items, now they are into oil and gas, because there has been sustainable political changes that have not affected the economic reality in an advanced way. As I'm telling you, democracy have a direct relationship with capitalism or liberalism. Democracy open up the system for liberal mind to drive economic. You understand? It's just for the government to now come in different way to strengthen the corporate governance of this environment.
Right.
Build the regulatory framework to checkmate any form of excesses, and then there will be sustainable private sector-led economic development. You understand? I just told you a state like Edo with a $25.5 billion GDP in Nigeria. If the total Nigerian GDP is 300 and something billion as of today, Edo is accounting for $25.5 billion GDP. And you feel such state does not need an airline? It's over. You go to other advanced world, go to other countries. There are a lot of, from the airline travel is like almost like Uber in abroad. From state to state, cities to city, people fly airlines. You understand? We are not talking. We are not saying international airlines yet. We are talking of being involved, taking advantage.
Local flights.
Exactly. Taking advantage of the local economy in the aviation sector that is expanding. An economy that has expanded to $2.5 billion. It's not a crime if I don't say tap into it. And they are not saying we are tapping into it by providing money to set up an airline. They are tapping into it by creating the enabling environment and the diligent framework that is attracting, something must have attracted the foreign investors. If the environment was not good, if the economic prosperity of Edo State was not good, they will not come in there. Do you know how many foreign nationals that are operating in Edo State as we speak? Just a few months ago, Presco Oyek met with the governor. They brought in another $100 million to invest in Edo State for more expansion of their business activities, whether in diversification or not. Dangote, one of the biggest cement factory in Nigeria, is located in Edo State. Dangote Cement. Boa, the biggest cement factory outlet in Nigeria for factory-wise for Boa Cement, is located in Edo State. Edo State is a hub for rubber, for latest rubber production in Nigeria. If Edo State does not have the prosperity, economic prosperity, the former president Buhari-led administration will not create an investment window of $69 billion for oil palm production. I'm telling you how viable that economy is, with population of more than 7 million people and a gateway transit point for almost every other state in Southeast and South-South. Air travel is needed and it's long overdue.
Right.
Now let's quickly talk about the economic impact. Now, what economic impact is expected when it comes to from the airline in terms of employment opportunities, tourism, and the development of Edo State? What are we supposed to envisage or see?
The first advantage is we have what is called economies of scale. You know, coming Edo State owning its own airline, Edo will now become a global brand when it comes to tourism. Mm-hmm. Imagine flying Edo Air and flying it where you want to know what is actually happening in Edo. You understand? Mm-hmm. Our rich cultural heritage will be exposed. Exposing the sense that foreign participation. People want to come and tap into it. Our tourism, we have eyebrows hotels are sprawling up across every part of Edo State. Our tourism potential will be well expanded. Job creation for the teeming youth will increase. And the multiplier effect is the SME, those that are going to be working around. They are not directly employed by the airline, but activities of the airline will be affecting their own business around that area. That's another economic of scale. You understand? Mm-hmm. When I talk of the IGR to the states, boosting state revenue, increasing the GDP, because the airline is going to be warehouse in Edo State as headquarters. You understand? Every revenue and every operational, even the FDI that will be coming, will all be directed to Edo State. So it's a win-win arrangement for every stakeholder that is involved here. From the operators, the partners that are coming, the government that is providing the enabling environment and the framework, and giving them the space to operate, for the Edo people to the federal government. The FDI for federal government will also increase. And our local economy will be expanding indirectly. I remember the last administration, when there is need to critique, these guys don't talk. A governor promised us an international airline in Auchi. Nobody asked of the economic viability. We are not talking of it's an international airport, rather. And this is a government that is not even talking of building an airport. It's only saying that he has facilitated the bringing of an airline with Edo name. And you are criticizing him for that.
I think Juma has a follow-up question.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question. You know, you mentioned Okada Air, for instance, and of course, this is the right step when it comes to economic development in Edo State. But do you see this with all the stakeholders, foreign partners coming into play to loosen up the burden? There won't be any financial implications like what you've mentioned in Edo State. But do you see this standing the test of time? Sustainability, basically. Because at first, it's always so glaring, so beautiful when we start up an initiative. But the follow-up, monitoring, and allowing it to be sustainable, that's where there is a problem. Do you see it?
Yeah, of course, the policy direction of the state government is clear in that regard. There's a sustainable development plan for the airline, which is already in the feasibility study, apart from the natural unpredictability or certainty that me and you we cannot tell, because we are human, we are not gods.
True.
You understand? But everything, business-wise, the yardsticks and the criteria to measure how feasible this will be has all been done. Make reference to Okada Air. Give it to the Esama of the universe, Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawa Igbenedion. He's done his bit. It's a private, he was not having any government backing when he floated the airline. Ironically, he was also the first person that floated a private university in Nigeria. Edo has always, we are not afraid of uncertainty. But the private university exists today. Igbenedion University. If we point finger at Okada Air that failed after almost 20 years flying in the air, we should also point finger at Igbenedion University that has stayed more than 20 years or over 30 years. You understand? And Edoma was the first to float a private TV station, a private broadcast station in Nigeria, AIT. On the long run, it went public. It became a PSC.
Right.
We are not, and Edoma was also floated Channels Television. We are from a state with robust ideas. We're talking of a city that first had street lights way back as the 15th century. We are not a people that are not aware of anything. So we are just reinventing. I just told you, history has a way of playing itself back. Reinvention is very key because it's a cyclical world. The world runs a cycle. So ironically, His Excellency Governor Monday Okpebholo is now the shoulder upon which a lot is being reinvented in Edo State.
All right, we're going to talk about a lot after this break, including some political elements that usually would accompany sort of this nature of conversation. When we return after this break, everyone, we'll look at the plan to sustain these otherwise laudable initiative beyond the lifetime of the administration of Governor Monday Okpebholo, plus issues about setting standards in terms of quality of governance, not just in Edo State, but across the sub-nationals. Please stay with us. Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
All right, Aruna, I'd like us to take advantage of this second lap of the conversation to look at what we had seen with the immediate predecessor of Governor Monday Okpebholo. I'm talking about Godwin Obaseki. There were things he rolled out as a governor. Of course, a good number of those initiatives and programs also hit some criticisms as expected. There were those that were lauded by Edo people, whether those in the field of, if you like, mainstream politics and those who are political. However, today the APC government is now making Edo people and indeed Nigerians realize that many of those initiatives by the former governor, Godwin Obaseki, were just as good as, they were on paper, and nothing practical, nothing of value for the average Edo man or woman. What is the chance that beyond or after the government or administration of Governor Monday Okpebholo, we are not also going to have a government that comes in and say, look, nothing was really exciting about this initiative, Edo Line. It was just good.
Edo Airline.
Edo Airline, I should say.
Yeah. All right. Uyi, you guys, I know you are journalists. You know better, but when...
we do?
Yeah, you guys ought to know better, But when doing this work, you are just trying to do what you have to do. because the reasons we critique the last administration was not far-fetched. We never, everything I said on this program, on this studio, in NTA, on different platforms against the last administration, when we were not even in government, today have been confirmed. And some of those things were also being said by those who had no privilege of being on air, or maybe they don't even have access to internet and what have you. You talk of, he brought about the international airport in Auchi. When somebody is telling you that he has invested XYZ to create a working plan for an international airport, and after some months, some years, with such money committed, you cannot see anything going on or any sites where a semblance of an airport is being built. Would you accept that that person has good investors? We talk about, he was the one that brought about investment in farms under the Edo State Agripreneur Program, that the federal government of late President Buhari committed investment of 23 billion naira. We talk about Sugbenu Farm, Sobe Farm, Agenebode Farm. And after 8 years, we could not see a maize harvest. Was the criticism against that project not justified? We talk about Gelegele Seaport. Billions were sunk into it. We could not find a semblance of a river port. We talk about Ipobaoka Dry Port, where even the economic advisor used his own company to collect 1.5 billion as consultancy for the feasibility arrangements. In Ipobaoka, there was never a dry port. We talk about the Benin Industrial Park. We talk about the innovative university from Malaysia that they has partnered with, they are bringing innovative university. The Benin Technical College claimed to have invested money in, as we are speaking today, Okpebolo is the one tying the road. Ongoing.
But was the school not upgraded beyond the road?
Do you understand?
But the school not upgraded.
What do you call upgrade without accessible road?
No, you use the term claim. You said he claims to have.
I said because you don't claim to do a project that is not accessible. Accessibility is part of the project.
Is it not accessible, or the road can be better than it?
No. When something becomes unaccessible, that means the road is dilapidated.
So how are the students getting to school?
That's what I'm saying. Settling, they will get to school because we go on dilapidated roads in this country. I went to school through dilapidated roads. But does it mean that was accessibility? I'm just trying to refresh your mind the difference between Governor Monday Okpebolo and the past administration. When Governor Monday Okpebolo talked about building farms, he did not commit Edo State money. Rather, he partnered with creative private partners. And you saw the harvest going on. Just last week here, more than 100 tons of maize has been harvested and shown to the world in Udomi Farm. I just talked about Agbede Warake Farm. These are all PPP. In reality, you have not heard him say on this airline, did you hear he said, I've committed XYZ money? You talk about Radisson Blue Hotel. Itato Edo Tourism Hotel that he told us he was building. He never told us he was partnering with anybody, the former administration. And he went to the stock market to use Edo State to collect bond of more than 17 to 25 billion that His Excellency Governor Monday Okpebolo is paying that debt today. And he sold such investments of 25 billion to a company he has interest in. Just 2 months before he handed over, created a fresh company, registered with CSC without bidding process and anything. Now said, these are the private investors. Called Radisson Blue. The name of the hotel has been changed. They want to invest in it. They can run it. They can do this. You now sold it to them for 10 billion. You understand? You gave 80% equity to them.
So So 20 for the states?
20 for the state that is paying the debts. The state that provided huge capital. The Governor Monday has not said he has provided capital for the airline. The 10 to 20% equity stake is talking about now has not been assessed and is going to be part of, we're going to be talking about land and all. The difference is in reality. One was talking, smooth talker. One was technocrime in the name of technocrats.
But we are not getting there yet now because we don't have we don't have it on records that Edo State government has petitioned him to any of the
we have it on record that the Edo State government is recovering some of these investments. Why are those involved, the private partners? Osyomo debacle happened. Have they taken Edo State government to court?
A committee was set up, the Asset Verification and Recovery Committee. Has the committee formally invited the former?
Not just the committee. It was invited, it's in the report. It was invited, he never showed up. The committee has submitted their report. The report has been evaluated by the State House of Assembly. From where he has sent his lawyer to represent him, and some of these properties are being reclaimed. Not reclaimed by driving the private. What the Governor Bebolo is simply saying is what belongs to Edo State, rearrange the ownership structure. Based on our investment, we are not supposed to hold 5% or 1% or 3%. Our investment, based on our Edo State investment, from what the capital released from the coffers of the people. The coffers belong to the people. The treasury belongs to the people. That we are supposed to own 80% or 70%. And once you agree as a private, you know what you know the deal, the underhand dealing you had with as a private investor. You knew the underhand dealing you had with the last administration. Have you heard anyone taking the government to court? When the partners from China came for the Osyomo to tell their part of the story, we discovered that Edo State government was having zero stake in Osyomo Power. But meanwhile, the former administration used Osyomo to glamorize that he was driving a private power development industry in Edo State. Did you hear Engineer Gihon, the so-called owner of Osyomo, that had all this deal with him, with Obaseki? Did you hear him taking Edo State government to court? Rather, they quietly, after the 1 week of media noise making, they quietly went to now say they are doing their own, the Chinese is doing their own. So there's no basis. The few investment drive of Governor Monday Okpebholo, I'll be realistic. 1 year plus in office, you are having harvest in the respective farms that you partner with private companies or private outfits and cooperatives. You are seeing the harvest. Did they process one juice for you, even 5 alive? Did you get it from a juice processing? I just challenge you now, and there was no plant there. It was just block frames.
I know you don't speak for the government. You speak as an Edo man and a member of the...
Not just right now I speak what is in the government. Okay, good. This is my government.
Great. So to that extent, I think it's only fair I ask you this.
Yes.
While these proposed, or if you like, ongoing Edo airline rollouts, it's great, it's amazing. At least giving the information you have provided on the show this morning. Are there plans to also now revamp, or if you like, resuscitate those other industries? I mean, they are very important, even though we know they have started.
I've said it already in the last segment of this interview, that a committee are set up, headed by the Commissioner for Trade and Commerce in Edo State. Yes. They are going around the 18 local governments
to reevaluate.
To reevaluate the status of this moribund project. The benefit of Flami is not moribund, it has been bought over by Prime Flami, owned by our great son.
So, Chris Oyakhilome,
of course.
Here. So it is off the hands of government.
Of course. Because they also went ahead to use the 20% stake of Edo State in benefit of Flami to do a private placement with the defunct Inland Bank. I was working an audit firm that we were the external auditors to benefit of Flami. We were also commercial nominees was the company secretary. I was working commercial nominees. We have experience. We know what we are talking about when it comes to economy and investment as far as this country is concerned. Not limited to Edo State. So Edo is just a microcosm.
Okay, so I want to ask you this just before Jumai, so Jumai can take a breath and then get right back in. As it stands today, there are people, I mean, I've read posts on social media, even from some members of your party. I've spoken to people, whether in the APC or in other parties, from Edo States, outside of Edo States, on this program and other programs. And I've always asked them, is there a point at which you can now say we're done and dusted with former Governor Obaseki and they want to now sit squarely, I mean, and face the business of governance? Why does Obaseki keep popping up when we talk about the development of Edo State?
It's just the past immediate governor of Edo State.
It's been a little over a year.
In this conversation, I never brought...
A little over a year.
I never brought... You brought his comparison.
You made an allusion before the break. You made an allusion.
Yeah, I only refer you, when you are doing comparative analysis, when he was in government, who was he being compared to? People will always compare you to the... Today we are comparing Tinubu to Buhari. When Buhari was there, we were comparing Buhari to Goodluck Jonathan. Was there ever a time in the life of the 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari that we did not mention Goodluck Jonathan?
Does that justify it?
No, it's not. I'm just trying to explain to you that when things are going, it's a two-way thing. If things are going better, people will tend to look back. Oh, we never had this before. We are having some of the biggest infrastructural revolution in Edo State right now, which Edo people never even thought it was possible. You understand? A sitting of more than 2,000 years for the first time having a flyover. To them, it's like, oh, so this is possible. You watch on video, you see some women ask, where did they get this money? Where will they get this money? You understand? And that now points you to why Edo State was voted as the number 5th state of prudence management of resources when it comes to fiscal responsibility. It was not voted by APC. A private assessment, independent assessment was done, and Edo State was number 5. And on the radar of budget performance, just first year budget performance, he had his score 82.1%, just the same on the same parity with Lagos State on budget implementation. It just shows you that we have a governor for the first time who is putting his money where the mouth is. It's not wasting the money. So as such, there is tendency for people to begin to compare. One was driving an international airport that was in illusion. That was an illusory investment drive. And the other one is saying, I'm partnering, I'm bringing people that come and operate Edo Airline right inside Benin there. We are not building airports. We are not committing billions into it. They are going to run it, but we'll have a stake in it because we are going to be providing every other support they needed beyond finance. You understand? And one was saying we are going to build Sobe Farm with 20-something billion. And for 8 years, you could not harvest maize. The other one is saying, I'm going to partner with cooperative and private partners in the agri sector. Let us build farms across this 3 senatorial districts. And less than 1 year, we are seeing harvest in these farms. You see the difference, the classic difference? One they say, one they do. One is a doer, not a talker. One is a rhetoric talker. A smooth one at that.
Okay. Being a rhetoric talker and a smooth one at that, you know, with all of this said now, it's all for the development and for the people of Edo State. For the rhetoric talker that you've said, is there anything that this particular administration can pick from and hit the ground running with it to make a difference? This government has its manifestos, has its program and policy direction. But there should be at least one legacy that you can hit the ground running.
The legacies I just have explained. The biggest aspect, I think I've said beyond time, beyond more than many times on this program, that there's wanting to have a beautiful vision. What you are questioning today is not about the realization of the airline, it's about the sustainability of the airline.
Very true.
You understand?
Beyond this administration.
You understand? That's why I'm here to provide answers to your question.
Sure.
So it's not about the vision, it's about the mission. When you build a glamorous, beautiful vision, you understand, without a defined mission, it become an illusory mirage. So most of those things you can point to, we have assessed Edo Best. Edo Best was a vision that even some states were coming to Edo State to learn from. But the reality on ground, there was no mission to drive it to reality. The reality on ground was that the schools that you are driving this beautiful vision for, the schools are lacking in total educational infrastructure. And you are seeing them commissioning of schools week in, week out by the new government. so that that vision can come to life. You understand? You talk about which other one? The MOA issue. MOA is a beautiful
Museum
vision.
of West African Art.
Exactly. But with structural illegality, deliberate attempt to be insincere in purpose, because this is not an idea that is from the government. This was the palace idea. In consonance with the federal government and the European Union that want to return the artifact, they needed a pavilion. And the traditional ruler, the head of the monarch, sold their debt to you that support us, which you promise on air that on your birthday as the monarch of Benin, we are going to deliver a museum to warehouse the returned artifact. And the next thing you went and retorted and distorted the vision to be dealing with the European Union directly, collecting money from them to the tune of $80-something million to build investment, put Edo State money in it, demolish an existing structure. Is that a vision? Is that a legacy that Governor Monday Okpebholo to demolish a complete hospital that is more than 110 years to pave way for the museum? Is that a legacy that Governor Monday Okpebholo should accept from him? And the governor is not saying, as we speak, he's not saying MOA does not exist. He said, okay, let us correct all the anomalies. It's a beautiful project, you understand, that will also attract international tourism to Edo State. But the ownership structure, all the illegality that surrounds it,
must be addressed.
Because you cannot go to CAC today and type MOA. MOA is not the CAC. But in the cyber, it's MOA.
But is it not possible that they are doing business as MOA?
No, they are not doing business. No. We are talking from point of investigation. And a committee has also been set up. So what the governor is saying is not cancelling some of these things. I just told you of Radisson Blue. The people have agreed. The hotel will go on. We return we rearrange the ownership stake. Carry your lion's share, because actually we brought lion's share. The state government brought lion's share. The same thing will happen to MOA. Whoever owns MOA by legality will take ownership, but MOA will exist.
So we have not determined ownership status for MOA. Is that the point?
Of course, the ownership status for MOA is already ascertained. It's a project of the palace.
So what about the news we heard, I mean, confirmed or otherwise, that the state governor was considering revoking the CFO? Revoking
CFO does not mean demolish the structure, because he has to revoke the CFO was not issued to MOA.
So it makes it an illegal entity if CFO is...
no, when he set up a committee, when it's corrected, the CFO will be granted officially and formally to the rightful owner. If a CFO is bearing my name when I'm not supposed to be the CFO, it should be revoked and give it to Uyi, that is the original owner. Do you understand?
Clearly.
That is what is going on. So what are we going to, which other legacy policy? Look at e-governance. Was that not the, I told you here about 1 year ago. You created e-governance and everybody clapped for. Edo State was among the first to launch e-governance. Trying to drive paperless bureaucratic activities in the state. Everything, you want to digitalize governance. Fine. In this modern world of technology, that was a sound vision by the supposed fine vision from Obaseki administration. But what happened? The ownership again, you outsource it to somebody that is based in Lagos, a government critical infrastructure, IT infrastructure. The back-end server is being operated by a consultant that is not in government. Sovereignty of data become an issue. Risk of information. You understand? You are almost like you are creating your own WikiLeaks. You are creating your own Assange. What is that guy's name?
Yeah, it's Julian Assange.
Julian Assange. Right. That is what you are creating deliberately, so that when you are out of government, you can be manipulating the system from. Government may want to modify data. They may want to correct some information. They cannot do all the technical support without going to a consultant who is collecting 1.something billion. It's like, just imagine INEC doing voting and their server is being operated from outside Nigeria or by a private person. Does that make sense? So these are some of the reasons why we don't really look at, because when you look at the legacy is tainted with a grandiose insincerity, of purpose, deliberate profligacy, and wickedness.
So with all of what you've said now, there's nothing you can make out of the past administration's legacy?
No, we are just collecting it, dusting it, and reforming them.
Quite interesting. Well, this has just started. I mean, the Edo airline that we've been discussing the entire time on the program. So we will keep an eye out and continue to track the progress, yes, as this unfolds. But we'd like to say a big thank you to you, Haruna Ibrahim, or High Chief, as you like to be called, member of the APC, as well as a financial analyst, for coming to help us understand what the intention of Edo State government is regarding the floating of this airline. And we hope it becomes a blessing for the people of the state and a plus in terms of the impact that the Senator Monday-led government intends to for
Very
the good people of the state. Again, we appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being a part of the program. Thank you.
All right, we're taking a break now, everyone. When we return, we'll do a recap for you, and that will be it on the program today. Stay with us. Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m., Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
All right, so much to talk about subnational development. You know, we've talked about how that time, and again, there is need for us to also hold states or state governments accountable. Every issue must not be escalated to the federal government. And in this regard, it's a good thing to know that those states government is not just taking initiative, but also now identifying where it has a lot of strength and how that strength can be, if you like, expanded, explored, and of course, taken advantage of for the good people of the state. And for an airline like this, yes, we agree it is ambitious, but in the end, it can pay off big time if the state and its partners manage it the best way possible.
Yes, it can. And for me, I'm just happy that it's for the good people of Edo State and, of course, the revenue which it will generate for employment when it comes to tourism and, of course, the development of Edo State, very importantly. But for me, is sustainability. And, of course, there should be a monitoring committee. For as much as they've come out to say there is a particular a plan for this particular project, there should be a monitoring committee to ensure that this sustains and stands the test of time, because it will bring a lot of good to the people and, of course, for Edo State.
Great. Good enough. Aruna talked about how that feasibility had been done.
Yes, he
Structures
did.
are being put in place to ensure that M&E, monitoring and evaluation, as you know it, is done time and again all through the process. That's our program for you today. Remember, as always, that the views of our guests across all of our programs, including here on Global Morning, are their opinions. It's a wonderful Friday. I can't stop being excited. I'm Uyi Agmofwe saying we appreciate you spending your time with us.
And I am Jumai Manson. Thank you all so much for being a part of the program. And from Uyi and I, we will say bye-bye.